Hello and welcome to the Stanford Graduate School of Business Application walkthrough session. My name is Chavi Hartley and I'll be your host today. It's my distinct pleasure to introduce Nancy, Senior Admissions Counselor for the MBA program at Stanford Graduate School of Business. She's a key member of the admissions team and here to bring an extraordinary level of insight into the admissions process. And she's here today to help us understand what makes an application truly shine at one of the most select and impactful MBA programs in the world. In this session, we will walk through the Stanford Graduate School of Business MBA application process step by step. Whether you are just beginning in your application or looking to fine-tune it, you will walk away with practical insights and strategic guidance. Stanford Graduate School of Business is renowned for developing principled, insightful, and innovative leaders. The program emphasizes personal leadership development, offers deep connections to the Silicon Valley entrepreneurial ecosystem, and is built around transformative experiences that challenges you to define your purpose and lead with it. After Nancy's presentation, we will open the floor for live Q&A. To participate, please use the chat tab at the bottom of your screen to submit any questions. Feel free to upvote the questions that resonate most with you. And now, Nancy, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, thank you for that warm introduction, Chavi. A warm hello and welcome to all of you that have taken time out of your day to spend the next 40 minutes or so learning about Stanford GSB and get some guidance and tips on what we look for in applicants, where we find it, and some ways to kind of help strengthen your application out there. So it's really great to be here with you today. So let me get started. I'm just going to dive right in and make sure that I allow enough time to answer your questions at the end. All right. Okay, there we go. So this is one of a kind of like an abbreviated version of our full-length information session that we offer. And I want to kind of talk about what the things that the GSB can empower you to do. You can see them here on this slide, this particular slide. And as you're going over that, I want you to know that we have 3 evaluation criteria. And this is important because this is how we spend our time learning about you through your application. It's through the lens of 3 questions. We essentially, in assessing your candidacy, want to know how you think, how you lead, and how you see the world. So as you are completing your application, you want to think about, am I showing examples and demonstrating the different ways that I'm thinking and leading and how I see the world out there? And then what we can do for you as part of this whole process of being a student at the GSB is that kind of tags off of what we're looking for in our candidates is at the GSB, it is really about expanding your mindset through this very transformational experience. So yes, we're going to be filling your head with a lot of quantitative business management skills. That's going to be the foundation of your education. And a lot of those courses are going to be taken during your first year of your program. Our classroom teaching methods and discussions and interactions are going to start helping you to think and expand in new ways about being boldly out there with your thoughts and your questions. Sometimes we don't even really know how to ask those pertinent questions that are going to get us the information that we're really looking for, but you learn how to do that here as a student. And like any school, building your community is a big part of what you're going to take part of here at Stanford GSB. And we are looking for people that are going to be collaborative and additive in the community. So it's not just your classmates, but you spend a lot of time getting to know your faculty, your professors, and different staff here that are involved in your MBA journey from very early on, like myself, all the way through to alumnihood. And speaking of alumni, they are very quick to help in our current students, whether it is about making the decision on whether you want to come here, to share about the impact on their careers after they graduate, or even, hey, I'm looking for an internship and I'm wondering if you have some ideas for that, or job prospects at the end. I mentioned just a moment ago that a big part of what we do is fill your head with a lot of foundational business skills. But even more so than that, you will find that a lot of your coursework and the things that you do over your 2 years here is developing your leadership style. Remember, that was one of our evaluation criteria. We all want to know already where you've kind of demonstrated some potential around leadership. But you are really going to learn how you naturally get people to come along with your ideas. And through different courseworks and coaching and leadership labs, you're going to discover more about your own communication style, how you are showing up in a room with other people, and how you can fine-tune that to be even more influential and have a greater impact with the people that you interact with. Also, our program is all about defining the future, right? You're coming back to school so that you have an aspiration or a particular career goal. You're heading off into the world to make a change for yourself, maybe for your organization and other more broadly speaking changes across the world. As you can see, we have a kind of a quote, one of several here on campus. And we like to think that the GSB is dedicated to things that haven't happened yet and the people who are about to dream them up. So how to get here, what we look for. So I mentioned our 3 evaluation criteria. I'm also going to tell you about where we find that in the application, and then just speak very briefly on how we can help get you here to the GSB once you've been offered a seat in one of our classes. So where we find it, now this is diving into the application more specifically. There are several sections where you get to tell your story. We're going to learn the who, the what, the where, the when, the why, about all the things you have been doing since your first year of university to present day. So yes, we're going to ask about your educational history. We ask where you went to high school, but that is it. We do not need any transcripts from those early years. But any university or college that you attended and graduated from, any degrees that you have, any other certificate programs, you'll be answering that in the educational history. You will be uploading a copy of your unofficial transcripts. If they are printed in a language other than English, you're going to need to have a translated copy of that. But you do not need to convert your transcript if you studied outside of the United States. We are very familiar with educational systems all around the world. So you are going to report everything within your own home institution's educational system. All right, test scores. That is a single data point across the application. It is essentially helping us understand your readiness for the rigor of especially the first year of the program. Test scores, we accept either the GMAT or the GRE exam. We do not have a preference between them. You can take the at-home version or you can take it at a test center, whatever works best for you. We do not have a minimum score requirement. We're not looking for anyone to bust the average test score up higher. If you're really concerned about all of this, you can take a look at our class profile on our website, and you can see the test range scores for our current class, and that's actually a little bit more informative. You'll see that range is very wide on our test scores there. I really encourage you to take the test way before the deadline when you're going to apply. I can't tell you how many times people have waited to the day before, the week before, or 2 weeks before to take their test, only to find out that something went wrong and the test has been invalidated and they're going to have to retake the test, or they never got a chance to start it because of technical difficulties. We do not accept late test scores. So if you don't have a test taken with valid scores prior to the round deadline, then your application will be incomplete. So again, give yourself a lot of time to do that. Test scores are good for 5 years after you take the test, but you're going to want to check our website specifically. We did have a change this year. Your test scores actually have to be valid on a specific date, which I think for this cycle is going to be June 1st of 2026. So make sure that you check that to make sure your test scores are going to be valid for when we need them to be. Personal information, activities, and awards. So these are optional activities and information. We know that not everyone has had a chance to delve into activities outside of family life or outside of their work. But if you have been involved in anything, we do make space in the application for you to tell us about them. Professional experience. So a lot of MBA programs will have a minimum 2 years of work experience, but at Stanford GSB, we do not have that. There is not a minimum nor a maximum years of work experience that you need to be admitted to Stanford GSB. What we are looking for when we are reviewing your professional experience is what is the scope and the impact that you are having in the roles that you have taken on. It isn't about a title. It isn't about this illustrious long-term resume. We're going to understand how long you've been out there in the workforce based on when you have earned your college degree. And so we're going to know your timeline, and we are not going to be comparing you with other people that have different timelines. We are just interested in what you have been doing, how you've taken action, what kind of positive outcome and impact you have made in whatever it is you've been involved in. We do not have any preferred industries or job titles or organizations. We just can't wait to get to find out what you've been doing based on your interests and where life has taken you. Again, we're not looking for any particular industries or organizations or job titles in this. Letters of reference. All right, we ask for two. We want two professional letters of reference. It is very helpful to us to hear about you, not only through your own words, but through the words and thoughts and feelings of other people that have worked with you and know you really well. So our first preference would be to get a letter from your current manager or supervisor. And we would also like to hear from someone else who has supervised you in some capacity, ideally within the last few years. So that is where you work from, but we also understand that that might not work for every applicant. You might not want to let your employer know that you're thinking about going to business school. We don't want anyone jeopardizing their job over a letter of recommendation. So it's fine if you do not want to, or if you cannot, or do not have a current supervisor. You can go out to other domains in your life, but we want to hear from people that have interacted with you more so on a daily basis. We're not looking to be impressed by the name and title and status of someone high in your organization. It is really about the people that have been down on the ground with you on a regular basis. If there's anyone in my audience that is currently in undergrad, you might be thinking, oh, great, I'm going to ask some of my professors to be my recommenders. I'm not saying you cannot do that, but this degree that you're earning as an MBA, it is a professional degree. It's not going to be a career in academia. It's going to be a career out there in the business world. So we are really looking to hear from people that know you outside of the traditional classroom setting. So if you have a professor that you have maybe done some research with, or you have worked with them outside of class, they could be a great recommender. You could also go to managers from, part-time jobs, internships, any volunteering that you have done in any organizations that you've been a part of. So go broadly on that. Give your recommenders also a long runway to get their information in. We offer quite a bit of tips and guidance around the letters of reference on our website. And I often get asked, what are some of the missed opportunities or mistakes that people make? And you wouldn't believe it, how many times there's been a missed opportunity in the letters of reference. Sometimes I will read letters of reference that are very general, that really do not lift the application. I don't get to learn any more about you because the person didn't understand the assignment or they didn't answer our questions. So I encourage you to think about a pool of people that could possibly write these letters for you. Take some time and interview them. Let them know why you're applying to Stanford GSB. Gauge their level of excitement. If they're just saying, yeah, I write 50 of these every year, I know what to do. They're the ones that are likely to write a very general letter that isn't going to be as impactful than someone who is, oh my gosh, tell me more. You're going to go to business school. Well, why? And what do you want to do after that? And oh gosh, do you remember the time when you were working on this particular project and I was coaching you and you're coming to me and what happened next? Someone who can speak with that great specific examples are going to go a long way in their advocacy of you. So be thinking about that. Essays. All right. So we also get a lot of questions or people feeling anxious around or angst around essays. And what I would say here about our essays is this is that opportunity for us to get to know who you are as that person behind all the things that you've done. So what I've talked about up until this point are going to be the things, the who, the what you've done, when you've done it, where you have done it, right? We're going to see that very readily across your application. But after I've seen all of that, what I really want to know is, okay, well, who is this person? I'm trying to get to know who you are through an electronic file. So the essays are your space to let me know who you are inside as a person. Like, what are the things that get you out of bed every morning and get you excited to start your day? Or maybe there are those things that live in your head and you can't get to sleep at night because you can't wait to get up and start working on them. It's what matters most to you, what values are driving the decisions and the things that you get involved in and the things that you stand up for. So we have 2 essays, and one of our essay prompts is what matters most to you and why. There's 2 questions there. Make sure you are answering both of those questions. Spend a little bit of time telling us what matters most, but the meatier piece of that is we want to know why this is so important to you and how has it been showing up in your life. We offer some workshops that go deep into how to actually navigate the essays. So I encourage you to check that out. You can find out about that on our website. So after you have told us who you are, what matters most to you and why, the second essay prompt kind of leads into, well, why Stanford? And specifically, why Stanford for you right now? And this is where you get to tell us, what you have learned about Stanford GSB or Stanford more broadly, right? Because we're a large university. There are 7 schools here. You actually enroll as a student at Stanford University, not just at the GSB. So that means that you're going to be taking classes, if you would like to, across the medical school, the law school, engineering, humanities, education, sustainability. And so spend some time getting to know us and help us understand how we're going to get you from where you are right now to where you think you want to go after graduation. And why now? What is it about us that has you drawn here to study? All right, optional short answer questions. They truly are optional. So we learned several years ago from some of our students that were admitted that said, "Hey, I'm so excited that I got here," but we did some focus groups with them about their application process, and they're like, there were a few examples of things that I just didn't get a chance to tell you about in my application because I was following your instructions and I stuck to the assignment. But yeah, there were things that I wanted to go into deeper detail on, or maybe an additional example I wanted to share. So we added this optional question. It's to space where if you find yourself after you have completed the application and you're like, great, I have answered their 3 evaluation criteria, but there's just one more thing I really want them to know about me, or 2 examples, up to 3, we give you space to share that. But do not be redundant. Do not repeat things that you have already shared across the application. These are truly just things that you haven't had an opportunity to share somewhere else in your application. All right, and at that point, you've got your application complete, you get it submitted, and then it goes to all of us where we are reading your application and checking my time here. And then there's this big waiting period. So another big part about getting admitted here is an interview. Interviews are by invitation only. And we send out emails to you if you get an invitation. They are behavior-based interviews, meaning that the questions asked are going to be about things that you have already done. What was your role? What was your action? What was your impact in these things? They're not going to be about hypothetical what-if scenarios. We're not going to ask those things. Most of our interviews are conducted by a group of trained senior alumni. They're not reading your whole application. They are getting a copy from you of your most current resume, and they're going to be asking you questions based off of your resume. The interview is just another chance for us to kind of meet you. It's that opportunity for you to, express your interest, ask questions of us, and tell us a little bit more about, what you've been up to and why you're coming to Stanford. All right. Very quickly, once you've been admitted, we have this financial aid process, and you will submit a separate application. Heads up, we are a need-based financial aid school only, meaning we do not have merit fellowships or scholarships. We award millions of dollars of fellowship money. This is essentially money, gifts that have been made to our school, money that if awarded to you, you do not need to pay back. It is based on your financial need. Not on your parents, not on anyone else, but on your ability to fund your education. So we have a whole team of people. They're actually right out my window here. And they work very closely with you. And I would say that most of our students will end up with a financial aid package that is one part need-based fellowship and student loans. As you can see on this screen, there are some other ways that students will also help fund their education. I'm going to get here. All right, so now I want to move on and hear from you. What are the questions that you have on your mind? So I'm going to stop screen share. Oh, actually, I think things changed from our practice session. All righty. Chavi, great. I can see my closed captioning, and I can
Nancy,
see some.
thank you so much for that comprehensive and insightful walkthrough of the Stanford GSB application process. For your clarity around the school's mission, its focus on the leadership development and the depth of connection to Silicon Valley innovation highlights what makes Stanford GSB such a distinctive experience. We'll now transition to our live Q&A. I'm going to select some questions from the chat and ask, and Nancy's going to answer them. Hi, Nancy. Stuti Agarwal is asking this question. How different are traditional applications versus deferred applications?
I'm sorry, where can I read that? Which question are you?
Hi, Nat. So Stuti Agarwal. I'm not sure how. Would you like me to just make another chat window for you and just put the question there? Do
Yeah,
you
I'm
see
sorry.
it? Please check your chat
But
window.
just if you just say the name, I can see the questions here. I can see like the first one that I'm seeing is Manav's.
Okay, we can do Manav's. Manav Tyagi asks, can you rank most
Yep.
important thing in application rank wise? If you have billion-dollar company board of director recommendation, will it make your application strong? And work experience is really important. Can you apply to GSB with zero work experience and still get accepted?
Yes, yes. So there isn't any one part of our application that is more important than the other. Everything that we ask in our application, we ask for a reason because it helps us understand a three-dimensional view of you. So there isn't anything weighted more heavily than another. Again, if you've got a letter from the board of the director, you've got someone, at the top of the food chain in your organization, it's not about impressing us. If you work with that person and, there's a direct line in your org chart to that person, and you work with them on a nearly daily, but certainly weekly basis, then that would be an appropriate person to ask. But if they don't really know you, it's not going to be helpful. They're not going to really be able to answer the questions that we ask of them. It really is about who knows you well, who's been, where the rubber meets the road with you on a daily basis. Those are the people that we want to hear from. We don't care what their writing style is, their title, or where they are in the hierarchy of the organization. Work experience, if you have it, we want to know about it, yes. But as I mentioned earlier, we do not have a minimum work experience requirements.
Okay, moving on to Kristen Bennett's question. Do you see that?
Kristen Bennett?
Yes. What's
Yes.
the best way to connect with alumni?
Yeah. So right now at this stage of your journey, it's a little bit harder to connect with MBA alumni unless you are attending an official event that's either online or in person where they are hosting and helping us in that official capacity. But once you have been admitted here, we start introducing you to all the alumni that you might want to meet that have career, industry, or wherever in the world you are, questions to start connecting with them. And then, once you enroll and matriculate as a student here, then you've got access to all of our alumni. A lot of them are guest speakers. They're coming back to campus for different workshops, for talking in our classes, for different conferences. So there's many different ways, formally and informally, to meet our alumni.
Next question is from Chuka Nanobi.
Mhm.
How would you recommend that someone evaluate the decision to apply for the MBA versus MSX program at GSB for someone with 10 plus years of experience?
Yeah, all right. I'm glad this question came up, Chuka. So just very briefly, Stanford GSB, we offer another degree conferring program besides the 2-year MBA program, which is designed for people maybe a little bit earlier to in their mid-career. But we also have this 1-year program called the MSX. This is a Master's of Science in Management. And this is really geared for people like yourself. If you've got 10 plus years of work experience, take a look at this program. Take a look at the class profile for this. You have a core curriculum that is specific to someone who has, a lot more experience in the work world than someone who might be a little fresher out of college. A lot of our electives for both the MSX and the MBA program are open to both students from both cohorts. So if you are, we have a minimum requirement for that MSX program. You have to have at least 8 years of post-grad work experience. So Chuka, if you have 10 or more years and you're trying to decide which one of these to apply to, spend some time really getting to know the programs. and how soon you want to get back out into the workforce. If you're making a giant pivot, for example, and you want an opportunity to explore an opportunity and have an internship, then that 2-year program gives you a little bit more time here. You get a chance to do a summer internship and a global experience requirement. Versus if you've got really tight goals for studying here at Stanford GSB, that MSX could be a better design program for you.
The next question is from Mohini Tufani. Hi, Nancy. I'm wondering how much weight test scores carry in the application process and whether applying in round 1 versus round 2 makes a significant difference.
Okay. Test scores, it's a single data point across your whole application. In order to thrive in our classes, you have to have like a base competency around some quantitative material, mathematics, statistics, some calculus in there. And, if you think about it, the language of business is accounting. So this isn't going to be a degree where you're coming out of here as an accountant, but you do need to be familiar with and learn how to read financial statements. So that part of the test helps us understand your quantitative readiness for that. There's also, you're going to be forming ideas and perspectives and opinions. And part of being out there in the business world is communicating that. And we need to see that you can form an opinion and that you can communicate that in writing and that you can analyze written material and make decisions and form a synthesis around that. So that's what the tests do, just to help us understand that you have a baseline competency around that so that you are going to really enjoy being a student here and that you are set up for success on that. We would never make a decision solely based on a test score. You'll see that there are people that have been admitted here that are on the lower end of the range and in the middle and in the higher end of that. But just because someone has a high test score doesn't mean that they're going to automatically be admitted to this program. And I don't think any school out there puts that much weight on test scores. So we just encourage you to prepare for the test. Show up bright and ready for test day, do your best and put that stake in the ground and own your test scores in confidence. If something happened during the test, during your test taking experience, you can let us know that in your application. And then whether applying round 1 or round 2 makes a difference, it does not. We have plenty of seats in the class in both of those rounds. There is plenty of financial aid across all 3 of our rounds. So take your time. Do not submit that submit button for your application until you are feeling really good about it, that it's at its strongest. There really is no difference between round 1 and round 2.
Thank you, Nancy. Hassan Khan is asking, hi, Nancy, how would you recommend we approach the essay?
Yeah, okay. So it's a simple question and people can understand the question. What matters most to you? All right, it's a question we don't often explore in our lives, and people don't ask that, on a daily basis, or our friends and family or don't. So for a lot of this is like a very self-reflective time. And if you haven't spent this time answering that for yourself, that's one of the first things you want to start doing is self-reflecting on that. Eventually, you're going to figure out what the what is. And then the why behind that should also naturally come forward from you. So this is an easy ask of us, theoretically, but then you open up that essay and then you're staring at a blank page and it's easy to kind of shut down on that. So we have, as I mentioned earlier, my colleague Will has designed some workshops and some video recordings specifically on, how do you get started telling your story in these essays? So I really encourage you to look at what we already have done and recorded on our GSB website. We do this as part of application week. Every summer we host these online. They'll be hosted again in August. And I encourage you to sign up for some of these online application workshops, especially on the essays. Those are happening sometime in August.
Thank you, Nancy. Stuti Agarwal asks, Hi, Nancy. How different are traditional applications versus deferred applications for advanced degree candidates?
Okay. So I think that what you're trying to ask here is like, do we approach a general direct? Let me back up. So we have everyone who applies to our program is either applying for direct admission or deferred admission. Direct admission is, okay, our application is open the year before someone would start the program here. So if you are planning on starting your MBA in September of 2026, then you're going to be applying for direct admission. I think that's what you mean by traditional application. If you are currently in college, and you are in your final year of study of a bachelor's degree or a co-term degree, or if you started and will finish a master's degree that you started right after undergrad, you may be eligible for what we call deferred enrollment. The deferred enrollment pathway to the GSB is, again, for people who have been in college and they haven't had much opportunity getting out there in the world and working, and they would like to do that before starting their MBA. There are some industries that actually require professional experience. A lot of consulting and finance companies, if you're going in that direction, they want to see work experience before you go do an MBA and before you go work for them. So think about that if you're going into those industries. Again, we don't have any professional experience requirement, but deferred enrollment is great opportunity for people in college that know eventually that they want to go get an MBA. It means that, they're guaranteed a seat in a future class, and it gives them a little bit more flexibility during their deferral to go out there and explore different career opportunities ahead of time, or maybe they want to go out and work on another master's degree before they do their MBA. So they have to be protectively engaged in that. So I hope that answers that question there.
Thank you, Nancy. Amandeep Singh asks, Hi, Nancy, would the activities at my work organization count as extracurricular activities, such as I'm running a committee at my work to encourage women in STEM, and also part of other such committees through my job, like volunteering with city for house building for refugees and tree planting?
Yeah, we want to hear about this for sure, Amandeep. So there are different places where you can talk about this, and it could be within the activities section. You could put a line item on your resume. This is also a space like if your resume is already full and your activity section is full, you could mention this in the optional short answer questions. But yeah, we would like to hear about these different experiences that you are involved in through your work.
Moving on to Mrinal Singh's question. Thank you for this session, Nancy. How can an applicant with no brands on their CV can differentiate themselves from the applicant pool?
Yeah, I see someone else wanted to answer this. So again, we are not looking for brand names and companies and schools and things that you've been in. We're really just interested in you. Like, honestly, I can't tell you, like, when I sit down to assess an application, like I tune everything out around me and I open up this fresh file, which is going to be you. And there isn't anyone more important in that time period than you. And I just want to know who you are and what you've been doing. I can't wait to get to know you. It's not about impressing me. It's just about, showing me who you are and what you've done and, the impact, what what's happened from the things that you've been involved in. So I get excited about whatever it is you're excited about. I'm not looking for you to, fit into a specific targeted person. There is just no ideal candidate. There is no ideal student here. So again, we're not looking for that. And if there's noise out there in the world or people that are talking to you, tune that out. Because if you've been working at a small organization, if you went to a smaller university, if you're involved in, a very small, not widely known organization, that is just so totally fine. You just get to tell us about your experiences there, and that's all that really matters. I hope that puts you and that second person at ease there. For sure, I hope.
Thank you, Nancy. We're going to go ahead a little bit and answer Desta AB's question. Do you see that?
Uh,
Three
yes.
questions. Is consistency or showcasing all-roundedness more important when you write the response to the essays? His
I see the question. Yeah, is
Thank you.
consistent or showcasing all roundedness when you write the response. I'm not exactly sure. Was it consistency or showcasing all roundedness? So I think once you start in, especially on the what matters most to you and why, once you really figure that out for yourself, Desta, it's going to naturally flow from you. And I want everyone here to understand something, especially about that SAA, is you already have the answer to that, all the information, all the details already inside of you. You've lived it already. It's up here in your memories. It's in your lived experiences. And it's just a matter of you getting familiar with that again and looking at it backwards through a perspective, a different perspective. So if you are self-aware, if you have been taking that time to reflect on some of the things that have probably guided you throughout your life, this will come together for you. It will come in your natural voice. You will probably just one day start flowing out the words in written format, and it will naturally come to its fullness and to its roundedness. But that you shouldn't try to make it that. It should just naturally flow from that once you have answered that question for yourself. Just I hope that helps there. And again, we offer some more guidance on how to go through that process.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you once again for that wonderful and in-depth walkthrough of the Stanford Graduate School of Business Application. It was a pleasure to explore the admissions process with your expert guidance, and I know our attendees gained a lot of valuable insights into how to craft a compelling mission-driven application. To everyone who joined us today, thank you for being here. If we didn't get to your specific questions today, Nancy has provided an email. Please go ahead and check it. It's all the way on top of the chat window.
Yeah, I'll throw it in here real quick. Again, you can just reach any one of us here at admissions-MBA at stanford.edu.
Yes, and a quick reminder, the session recordings will be made available shortly on the event page, so feel free to review at your convenience. A big thank you to everyone who attended. A special note of gratitude to Nancy for her clear, actionable insights. We are wishing you all the very best in your journey, and we hope to see you again at future events. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chava. You were a great moderator. Appreciate you.
Thank you. You're so kind.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.